Join us, leave your field to flower. Join us, leave your cheese to sour. Join us, come and waste an hour or two. We got magic to do just for you. Good evening. Welcome to Studio Tenn Talks. I am Patrick Cassidy, and I'm the artistic director for Studio Tenn. We have an incredible show. It is packed today. I want to first tell you about on August 22nd at 7 o'clock, we, Studio Tenn, are going to produce a live cabaret show with my good friend, Mr. Adam Pascal, Tony nominee for the musical Rent and the movie. It is called So Far, an Acoustic Retrospective. He is coming to town. He's going to be staying with me, and it is limited seating. We have taken every single precaution under the sun, according to the CDC. Limited seating, temperatures at the door, masks the entire time, but we are going to produce it on August 22nd. Go to our website and take a look. You will love it. It's going to be a great show. I saw it in LA. He goes through his entire career in the theater, starting with Rent, tells stories about Jonathan Larson, tells stories about Elton John and Aida. It's a great evening. Get your tickets. But right after that, on August 27th, we have our first ever musical variety show. There it is. You have got to get your tickets. This is going to be an incredible evening. We have an array of guests like you can't believe. You can purchase VIP boxes in which you get food from Red Pony Restaurant right on Main Street. The performers are our own Megan Murphy Chambers, who is beyond funny, and she has worked for Studio Tenn more than anyone, and more in Tennessee more than anyone, because she's that good. We have from Los Angeles, Mr. Jason Graw, who's going to perform. Incredible funny man. I've gotten to do Music Man with him twice. And the incomparable, the voice of Deanna Anthony. When you guys hear this woman sing, you won't believe it. And we also have our local favorite, Mr. Patrick Thomas. And speaking of Patrick Thomas, I'd like to show you a little video that we did for Franklin Tomorrow. It was a video that Patrick and myself and my mother, Shirley Jones, and my late brother, David Cassidy, and Sean Cassidy put together. So take a look. Greetings, I'm Patrick Cassidy, and I'm the artistic director for Studio Tenn, the premier musical theater company in all of Franklin, Tennessee, the greatest city in the world. Franklin is known for entertainment, so there's no business like show business, like no business I know.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day.
That's my mom, Shirley Jones Cassidy. But as I was saying, I'm Patrick Cassidy, and there's no business like show business, like...
Hey, I think I love you, so what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm not sure of. A love there is no cure for.
That's David Cassidy. But I'm Patrick Cassidy, and there's no business.
Later on Monday and my heart stood still. Do run, do run.
Sean Cassidy, Patrick Cassidy, not David Cassidy, not Hopalong Cassidy, not Butch Cassidy, Patrick
Thomas. Did I hear my name? It's been so long I can't resist a virtual stage. Patrick Thomas, not Stewart or Ewing. I'm not that into X-Men, and my shot would cause booing. There's Patrick Wilson, scary movie, Swayze, Dempsey, so McDreamy. Go out west to Kansas City, Oma Holmes is sitting pretty. Patrick, now take a seat, Cassidy, 'cause Studio Tenn and Franklin, they're my family. I'm just kidding, 'cause all jokes aside, you're the boss, I need a job, so take back the mic.
Thank you, Patrick Thomas. I'm Patrick Cassidy. So that is the incredible Mr. Patrick Thomas. He is going to be there for the virtual musical variety show. It's going to be incredible. You can get your tickets. We are selling it out, and the VIP packages are fantastic. Go to our website. Is that where we go, William? We go to our website. Okay. So without further ado, there it is, the musical variety show. Get your tickets. It's going to be an incredible, incredible evening. So here we go. Our first guest tonight is an award-winning director, choreographer, and playwright whose work has been featured both nationally and internationally. He has directed and choreographed world premieres by such Tony-nominated artists as Willie and Rob Reel, Stephen Schwartz, Stephen Flaherty, and Lynn Ahrens, and Bill Russell and Henry Krieger. He is currently the international representative for TYA USA, graduate of the University of Michigan. We're going to talk about that. Graduate of Michigan University for the musical theater program and the theater school at DePaul University, where he also served as assistant professor. Since 2017, he has served as executive artistic director, Ernie, as executive artistic director for the Nashville Children's Theater, founded in 1931. Please welcome the incredible Mr. Ernie Nolan.
Hey, thank you for that.
Thank you. You did it. You amassed it. It's yours. It's amazing.
I guess so, but that was like a really good intro. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. How are you, pal? First of all, how's your health? How are your friends' health? How's the people around you?
Good.
How's it all going?
Very good. Very good. People are happy and healthy around my neck of the woods.
And you've been
so very thankful for that.
All is safe in your world?
Yes, all is, luckily.
Explain for me, because I'm the newest member, as you know, not just to Tennessee, into the arts, but explain the difference between you in Nashville and me in, say, Franklin in Williamson County versus Davidson County.
We're like just a hop, skip, and jump down the road from each other. Mm-hmm. We just would like hop on 65 to see each other.
That's right. And but the difference, though, in terms of, like, for example, Davidson County was more of a hot spot than Williamson County, and then Williamson County kind of caught up. I mean, it's been
yes. And luckily, I live in East Nashville, so we've been relatively safe. But in sort of some of the hot spots that are around, town Davidson County for quite a while was kind of a hot spot for us.
You know, Ernie, I got here in January, and just so you know, since I've been here, since I arrived, like my big arrival in Tennessee, there's been tornadoes. There's been this little virus that we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
There's been protests, right? I keep thinking if earthquakes hit here, I know it was all my fault. I'm to blame.
Yes.
I'll take that.
When I first came to town, you know, the Predators had gotten really successful, and I had gotten my final interview for the job here in Nashville, literally the day after the Cubs won the World Series.
Oh,
so everyone thought I brought like winning energy down to Nashville.
They blamed you for finally the Cubs had arrived.
Right, but now I just kind of feel like, oh no, what's going on with that energy between tornadoes? I mean, we had tornadoes in COVID within a week of each other.
Totally. And each thing kind of put the next story off the news, you know? It was like, oh, there's this catastrophe. Oh, here's this epidemic. It was, just brutal.
Well, and for us at the Children's Theater, what was unfortunate, you know, the morning after the hurricanes, one of the schools that was destroyed was supposed to see a matinee that day.
Oh, man.
So we started canceling performances because of the tornadoes. And then as COVID hit us, so it was really kind of crazy. Unfortunately, Hans Christian Andersen's run was cut short by several days and several performances because of that.
Well, you should know that prior to that, in that little window that when I came to town, the first piece of theater and art I got to see was Anti-Claus.
Yes.
With my friend Zena and Marcy, who had written before, and I got to meet you that day, and it was fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
And Megan Murphy Chambers, who works for all of us. It was such a great evening. Oh, there's Jennifer. We have had earthquakes. Buckle up, partner. Oh, thank you. I'll remember that. No, it was extraordinary. And as I said to you earlier, our tech test. Your venue, Ernie, that venue is absolutely mind blowing.
It is. It's a magical spot. Like it's a magical thing. You know, moving down to Nashville, I had heard about how much Nashville loves the arts and how good they are for their arts organizations. But certainly that building is a testament of how much the city and the community, how much our audiences are dedicated to the theater and believe in it. It's a great space.
Well, they love it. And the thing that, I know that you guys do other shows, but you do a lot of original work too, like a lot.
Well, if you think about it, the canon of children's dramatic literature really is about a little over 100 years old. Mm-hmm. It's 100 years old. And so when you begin to look at stories that need to be told and stories that haven't been told yet, people that you want to give voice so that their stories are shared, it's hard because you begin to look through the canon and you go, oh gosh, where are the musical, where is the opportunity to share stuff? And so what's great is that, I really believe in adding and furthering the dramatic canon by doing the new work that we're doing. And so that everyone, knows that writing for young audiences is alive and well today.
Well, it's extraordinary what you guys do. And I want to talk a little bit about you being a graduate from the University of Michigan. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, I want to say this. So I've worked at the Benedum Theater in Pittsburgh 5-6 times.
Yes.
And they have they're one of the best summer stock, Now, Van Kaplan is incredibly, produces on Broadway, American in Paris, all of that. But the first time I was there was in the 90s, and I did Lancelot in Camelot, right?
Yes.
And what they do is for the summer, one of them, they have their whole ensemble for all the shows is kids in a drama program. And Carnegie Mellon dominated it. It was Carnegie Mellon, Carnegie Mellon, Carnegie Mellon. So then I go back and I play Shaw in Footloose, okay? The musical. And this is 15 years later. Every kid, Michigan, 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 Michigan. So tell me about your alma mater.
Oh, gosh. It was something that kind of came and grew because my other version of that story would be when I was fortunate enough to work at Music Theater Wichita. And there had been one Ian Knauer, if you know Ian, great song and dance man, right? But he had done it years before. Then Job Christensen had. Then there were maybe two. And it was funny, by the time I left, I think many musical theater graduates are fortunate enough now to work at Music Theater of Wichita. That program was so exciting to be a part of and so exciting to be in that atmosphere and also watch it grow and change and develop.
And were you a triple threat? Were you an actor, singer, dancer? Were you?
By the time I left, yes. Yeah. By the time I left, I feel fortunate enough. We've never talked about our 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon with Linda Goodrich, who choreographed Company.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So Linda Goodrich was my mentor in undergrad. She came to Michigan my sophomore year. And literally because of Linda, I was a very good mover. I was a actor, singer like nobody's business and a mover. And Linda Goodrich made me a dancer
really?
When I left. So when I did Music Man with her, there was no Marcellus hits a high note and then shapoopies off. This was and now Marcellus will lead the charge with the teenagers.
Yes, of course.
Now Marcellus will keep on hopping with the teenagers. Now Marcellus will dance.
Why is Marcellus taking his leg and putting it at 6 o'clock? Whack.
Yes. If I look back at that video, I was like, all right. But I was really fortunate enough to leave that program really kind of as a triple threat. And actually, I dance captained, which is a funny thing. I dance captained after leaving Michigan in New York. And it really catapulted so much of what I did at Michigan. I was at Michigan at a really cool time. I played every old man that ever yelled at Gavin Creel, and then played a funny guy alongside Celia Keenan-Bolger. Wow. Dan Reichert was there. Todd Buonapane was there. all these people who've just contributed great roles to the musical theater canon. We're all there.
Susannah Smith White says, "Wearing my ruby slippers." Does that mean something to you? Go, Ernie. Remember Sparkle Turfy?
Sparkle Turfy. I do.
And Theresa says, "Ernie, you've considered partnering up the Miracle Project, theater opportunities for children with special needs."
That would be fantastic.
Yeah,
that would really be fantastic. It's something more and more at the theater we've tried to open the doors and really have a lot of different experiences the theater hasn't had yet in the past. It'd be really cool to find out about something like that.
Tell me, what was your first artistic director job? Was it this one? Well, except you're not the artistic, you're the executive artistic director.
Which means I use Excel a lot.
Which I can't use. I tried it at the last artistic director job. They threw me out. No way.
Yeah, it's a lot of Excel. I was artistic director of Emerald City Theater in Chicago for several years before I came down and worked there before diving headfirst into this job.
It's mind blowing. And you know, Jason, who you'll meet in a few minutes, he was the artistic director, and I believe for Reprise, which is sort of the West Coast encores in California.
Yeah,
amazing company. And and I'm gonna talk about that with him, because again, when you wear this hat, when you wear the actor hat, the performer hat, and you go to that hat, it's a big shift. It's a whole
totally,
you know,
totally. Well, the scope becomes. You know, it's kind of funny, like your vision grows. And one decision, you know, so often as actors, we're on stage doing things and our decisions affect some things. But man, as an artistic director, you know, the ripples and waves that happen, choices or ideas. I mean, I remember when I first came to Nashville and the excitement in the office. We didn't have mailboxes. And finally one day we just ordered a mailbox thing. Literally everyone there was a whole discussion over just the plastic mailbox holder. It was like, oh wow, okay. This is kind of crazy.
You helped create the Little Theater, right? The nation's first performance space dedicated to interactive and immersive theatrical experiences.
Yes, for 0 to 5-year-olds.
Oh my, tell me about that quick.
So years ago, I was fortunate enough to receive a fellowship from TYA USA. And I went to Denmark and I experienced, sitting on the floor with a bunch of parents, the first play I had ever seen for babies.
Oh my God.
And it was multicolored and there were like these Rube Goldberg contraptions around the room, and it was primarily nonverbal.
Now this was not Gymboree.
No. This was like a play. There was a story. We followed someone get over their fear of water and then celebrate it. And it was so crazy, like sitting on that floor and watching the very, very little young audience become engaged and enthralled. And I became obsessed with learning everything I could about theater for the very end. So a lot of my international travel and a lot of my research has been about that. And then I was fortunate enough, we built in Chicago a baby black box where we did shows for the very young. And it, for the time, was the only space in the country. We even got to tell, we were the only theater that had diaper changing stations in it. And so Broadway, we partnered with Broadway in Chicago. They saw our diaper changing stations and then added them.
Oh, that's great.
A water tower. But for
we could use that for our company. We could use diapers. I think any adult company could use it.
But the Little Theater was really, really something special while it existed in its tenure in Chicago, and it was still up and running before I came down to Nashville. But now it is no more. But now we do the Snuggery at Nashville Children's Theater, which again are those plays for 0 to 5-year-olds.
And so the Nashville Children's Theater is the oldest professional theater in Nashville.
Yeah, 1931. We're turning 90 this season, and it's amazing. It is one of in the 1930s, the Junior League went on a mission to bring theater to children, and it's amazing that a handful of theaters, like every major metropolitan area, had a Junior League sponsor children's theater.
Mhm.
Boston and New York were some of the first ones, but the Nashville Children's Theater is the child of the Junior League and have lasted 90 years.
Well, you are doing a tremendous job. As I said to you, it was my first introduction to the arts here in Middle Tennessee, and meeting you. That jacket, I want to steal that jacket you wore opening night. It had more bling. It had more bling than I've ever bought my wife in our entire 27-year marriage.
It was for a holiday musical opening.
Tell me, Ernie, what is the thing that you are the most proud of?
Oh, I'm really proud of the new works. I'm proud of the Snuggery, which has grown since my arrival. And I'm also proud of the new work we created, Anti-Claus, Idris Goodwin's Ghost. We also premiered the TYA edit of the Broadway musical Tuck Everlasting. Also, Maricela Trevino Orta's Return to Sender. Our new pieces of new work is something I've been really proud of and really excited by.
Well, one of the little windows that God has opened during this big virus closed door is he's allowed, at least for me personally, to get to know you, because we meet on Zoom with the other artistic directors.
Totally.
And Drew, and I've gotten to see you, and you're extraordinary. And from one artistic director to the other, I would love to continue to work with you and learn from you, my friend.
Oh, thanks, my friend. I'm just so excited. It's so cool to all be in conversation with one another.
Amazing.
And just kind of feel we're all in the good fight together this time. That we're all juggling as many balls as we possibly can. It's been so funny during this period. Those people have been like, who've been bored or like have nothing to do during COVID. And I'm sure you, like me, there's always something to do. So there's always, you're emailing 24 hours a day, you're Zooming, you're brainstorming, you're problem solving.
And as a result, a lot of great creation and content has occurred, and including this talk show where I've gotten to talk to friends and people, and again meet people on an even deeper level. That part has been extraordinary, and I'm so grateful for it, as I am for you, Ernie. Thank you for doing the show. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Of course.
It's so great. At the Children's Theater, amazing. I can't wait till we can, Studio Tenn and the Children's Theater can actually do something together.
Oh, so much fun. We'd have so much fun.
Thanks, Ernie. Great to see you, my friend.
Well, good to see you too.
Take care.
Take care.
Well, just another amazing thing about Middle Tennessee, about the theater here. All right. I want to get to my next guest. This man is a long time friend. We're going to talk about, I can't believe how long I know him. He is best known for his role as George Costanza in Seinfeld, for which he was nominated 7 times for consecutive Primetime Emmys and 4 Golden Globe Awards. His first major role on Broadway was as Joe in the original 1981 production of Stephen Sondheim and George Firth's Merrily We Roll Along. Other Broadway credits include The Rink, Broadway Bound, Fish in the Dark, and Jerome Robbins' Broadway, for which he received the Tony Award. He has done over 140 film and TV credits, including The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Pretty Woman, Coneheads, Friends, 2.5 Men, and Criminal Minds. In 2012, he was honored to receive the Julie Harris Award for Lifetime Achievement from the Actors Fund. I can't believe it. What an incredible guy this guy is. And wait till you hear these stories. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so privileged to have Mr. Jason Alexander. Oh my gosh.
Hello. You made me sound like my mother was going, I knew he would amount to something.
Well, he did. And the funny thing is that's just a splinter of what I didn't have 3 hours to do the introduction of Jason Alexander.
The list gets less impressive as you go on.
How are you, my friend? You look
I
great.
am living the dream, right?
I saw you during the tech, a few hours ago, and you have not aged, Jason. Like you said, your parents, they put some good genes.
Just genetics. My parents went to their graves respectively. My dad at 91, my mother at 98. They looked better than I do now.
Well, thank God. We'll talk about you and I working together, but I remember you said to me, we were doing I Love My Wife together, and we were sitting there, we were putting makeup on in the same dressing room. And you said, you know, and I went out because I had to go into like a little thong and take my shirt off. And he says, you know, he has to work really hard to look like that every day. I just go out. I just go out there.
It presents itself, brother.
All right. So we have so much to cover. First of all, I didn't realize 7 Emmy nominations.
7 for Seinfeld. I think I was nominated for something else. Won none of them. But you know, let's just underline that.
You understand that's 7 or more than I've ever gotten. So
well, be that as it may, on my shelf we have exactly the same number.
So 7 nominations.
The craziest thing, I actually won a daytime Emmy this year in the craziest situation. Right? That your reaction is exactly the correct reaction, because I'm in my live shows from now on. I'm going to bring a $50 bill and say, I'll give it to anybody who knows what I won an Emmy for. Because it was actually something that Funny or Die did. They did these long extended music videos about racist tropes. And they did one for African American, one for Jewish, and one for Asian. And I sang only the Jewish one, you know, the one about anti-Semitism.
Right.
Well, I guess for the daytime Emmy, you can't be a performer. You're either a writer or a producer. So I won a daytime Emmy for writing, which I did not do, for a thing that was not on TV. I'm so proud.
That's hysterical. And I thought it was The Bold and the Beautiful, of course. What more?
That could be. It's going to be legit. I think my next thing is to get an Oscar for a movie I'm not in. That's my next goal.
Well, okay, let's start semi at the beginning. We're going to go back and forth. So, as I said in the opening, most people know you as George from Seinfeld. Yeah. But for our viewers and for the world, if they don't know, they have to know. You are an incredible, accomplished triple threat singer, dancer, actor, Tony Award winner, like I said, Broadway performer. And I want to go through, I mean, you got your start, right, on Broadway as Joe in Merrily We Roll Along in 1981. Was that your first?
No.
Well, there you are. Wait,
there I am. Look at that. I still have that shirt, by the way.
And Lonnie Price above you, right? Yes.
Lonnie Price, Ann Morrison down below, Sally Klein, Terry Finn, and Jim Walton.
How old are you in that picture, Jason?
I think I'm 20 or 21.
You look like you're about 12.
Yeah, I know. That's why they cast us. They were looking for children. I actually that was my Broadway debut, and that was the thing that I was the most excited about, because I always my dream of a career was to be in New York and be on Broadway. But I fell into commercials when I was a teenager, and I had actually done one very bad, but if you wait long enough, things come around. I did a very bad horror film about 6 months before I did Merrily. And so that, I guess, was so I had a little bit of a TV career. I had, if you want to call it, a movie career. And then,
you got Merrily.
Yeah.
And there's, so it says, oh, Jill Gold. Oh, there's Jill Gold. Jason, you were
Jill Gold.
Mrs. Maisel.
Thank you.
I recently saw The Best Worst Thing That Ever Could Have Happened, that Lonnie directed, and you're hugely featured it. I was blown away. I called Lonnie afterwards because I hadn't seen it, just to say it made me cry. I was like, oh my gosh, what? And that experience, tell us a little bit about that experience, getting to work with
Merrily?
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of a primer for a life in our business, because it was an extraordinary opportunity. Every day there, you're working with Christ and Moses. It's Hal Prince, Steve Sondheim, and George Firth, and Paul Giamatti, and Ron Field, and Larry Fuller, and you can't believe. And we're kids. We're all kids. So that was thrilling. And but the minute we got it in front of an audience, it was a piece that was struggling to find that audience, to tell its own story, and we certainly in our production never cracked that nut fully. I've seen follow-up productions, and I think there are really things to applaud in all of them. But for my money, it's just one of those. Steve's score is so magnificent,
Phenomenal.
and everyone tries to find a way to approach the story to get it to match the magnificence of the score, and it doesn't quite happen. But perhaps I know Richard Linklater is doing a film version of it that he's filming over 20 years with Ben Platt and Beanie Feldstein.
Oh, really?
And so either they're going to nail it or they're going to take 20 years to prove it still doesn't work. But it was a glorious experience. It really
again, I want to show our viewers just what a triple threat song and dance man you are. This is from actually the Jerry Lewis telethon. Mr. Jason Alexander.
Right here.
Right here.
Wanna sing a show too, good old Broadway show too, nothing that has no tune, something that has heart, something you can hum or can strum by the hour, something kind of light that's as bright as a flower, something with a tune you can croon in the shower to help the day start. You can keep those rock songs, I don't need those schlock songs, only summer stock songs set me tapping my toe. How I love to sing a ditty that's and stylish, something Gershwin-esque, Porter-esque, or Kurt Weill-ish. Wanna sing a show too from a Broadway show.
Okay. Now, the number goes on for 7 minutes. Not only does it show your singing, not only does it show your acting and your comedy, but your dancing. Did you train? You must have trained as a dancer.
Kinda. I mean, you know, I took tap as a kid,
right?
Because I was an enormously fat kid, and I thought I can't get in a ballet outfit. It's just, yeah. In college, I was a theater major in college, so we took movement and dance. And then when I moved to New York to start my career, I did go to the Carnegie Hall studios, and I did jazz with Chuck Kelly, and I did.
So you studied. You said, "I'm going to."
I did, and then I really learned. I had on-the-job training. So when I did Merrily, I had Ron Field teaching me. When I did the Rink, I had Graciela Danielle and Cheetah Rivera teaching me. I had Jerome Robbins teaching me, which is not a bad teacher. So.
I had Jason. I had the exact similar experience. I didn't take formal class, but when I got into musicals, there's Melissa.
I know that girl.
When I got into musicals, I had Graciela teaching me in my first show. I had Kenny Ortega and Michael Peters and all these incredible, and it was like, it was like a master class in dance that we got to. And then of course I married like one of the best dancers in Los Angeles, my wife, who, by the way, we have a little clip with the two of you. Take a look at this.
All right.
She's the black. Can you still do the flip?
Never enjoyed abuse more. I still can do the flip. The flip was always the trick I could pull out of the hat.
Oh my gosh. And that whole number, which is so great about that number, you're abused and taken apart by like 4 or 5 different women, right? Is that what it is?
It starts with me at a piano singing the theme to Funny Girl, but we made it Funny Guy, about how you never get the girl.
Right.
And then it's a dance fantasy with 5 different styles, 5 different women, and they were all glorious. And my friend Linda Talcott, wonderful dancer and choreographer, won an Emmy for choreographing that number. She was brilliant.
Oh, it's a brilliant number. I told you I was going to find some stuff that maybe you hadn't seen in a while, and then of course my wife wearing the blonde wig was just, So okay, Jerome Robbins Broadway. You win the Tony Award for this incredible performance. Tell us about. First of all, tell us. I mean, I saw the show. It's an incredible show. It's not done a lot. You know, the St. Louis Muni Opera got to do it like 2 summers ago, which was like a first. It's not done, and I don't know if it's because of the rights of Jerry's rights or what it is, but it's
not done because it's incredibly difficult to do. You know, what people don't remember is the Broadway cast rehearsed that show for 6 months.
I know.
And we had the finest theater dancers in the country at that time.
Right.
So to really work up the stamina and to get the technique required for all those different numbers took a great deal of prep time. And the Muni, I didn't get to see it. I did hear a lot about it. It was choreographed by Cynthia Onrubia, who was one of our dance captains and has this
amazing
computer memory for
original white cat in cat.
That's right. That's right. And Cynthia, I think, found a way to cast a whole bunch of people and sort of divvy the show up. They did, as far as I know, they didn't do the entire show that we did in New York, but it doesn't matter. Whatever they accomplished was extraordinary because they only had 2 weeks to put it together, and bless them. That was, I'm sure.
Now, so there's a story. The story we know about Jerry Robbins, and I think it happened on that show, the one he goes into the pit. Is that true?
It happened on the original company of West Side Story. This was told to me by Cheetah Rivera.
Okay. So Cheetah's going to be on this show, so I'm going to talk to her. No, I want you to tell the story. Tell the story.
Well, the story, as I understand from Tony Mordente, was, Jerry Robbins, you love him, you hate him.
Right.
The cast was killing themselves every night. Everybody 110% hard show. They were in previews. The curtain came down, and by the time it hit the floor, Jerry Robbins was on the stage screaming at everybody, "Nobody leaves, nobody moves. The first person that opens their mouth is fired." And he starts giving notes. Now, he's on such a tear, he doesn't realize the audience is gone. The curtain has gone up, right? So there's no longer a curtain behind him, and he's giving notes, and he's edging towards the edge of the stage, towards the pit. And everybody kind of wants to go, but they've been told the first person that talks is fired, and they kind of had a chip on their shoulder anyway, so they just went, all right. And he went right over the edge into the pit, and I think either fractured or broke his hip. And when he tells the story, when I've heard him tell the story, there was none of the I yelled at everybody, and no, I was just giving notes, and I didn't know.
Sure. Okay, but you will know. What was it like when you do Jerome Robbins Broadway with him?
It was, as Charles Dickens wrote, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I have never been surrounded by more inspirational people in my life. Jerry Robbins being the head of that list, he was absolutely beyond brilliant, beyond genius. And what you could learn, both by what he did do and what he didn't do, was extraordinary. But I was surrounded by, we had, I think, 65 dancers in that company, any one of which was a star. Any one of them.
All of them.
Would have held their own Broadway show in the time when dance stars were a thing.
Yeah.
And they were the finest, most generous, most loving ensemble. Everybody working for the good of the show, everybody working selflessly. And I adored every one of them.
Well, Jason, Barbara Yeager was
funny.
She and I did Leader of the Pack, and she talked about it too. What an experience.
Extraordinary. And he was at times incredibly hard and difficult and abusive, but he was when he was glorious, and the work was always glorious. When he himself was glorious, combined with the gift he gave to dancers, you couldn't hate him. You at the end of the day, you loved him. Because he was extraordinary. And
for you got to play, which is why you got the coveted Tony Award, which we're going to talk about in 1 second. You got this little statue. You got to play all those great parts.
I did. I played a lot.
You did Tevye. What else?
Mine was basically, I was the Phil Silvers and Zero Mostel track. So I had Tevye, I had Pseudolus, and I had high button the Phil Silvers role in high button shoes. And I played. I actually the reason the show for me was thrilling because there was no part for me, and I was basically hired to create the narrative and write my own part. So I got to be on the inside backstage of a Broadway show for the first time, and that was stunning. So I wrote my own part, and I basically played about 16 little characters, but the big ones were Fiddler and Forum and Gypsy and High Button Shoes and stuff.
Well,
like
it garnered you this little stature. Now, we found out during our little tech time, your trophy is not the original one.
No, somehow the original one, it wasn't in an auspicious place, but it wasn't hidden either.
Right.
Got stolen. And I probably didn't notice it for about half a year. And then I called the Antoinette Perry people and went, "Oh," and they sent me a new one, which was very nice.
Okay.
The new one is actually nicer than the old one. And so,
Okay, now we're going to parallel a story. So this one that I have in my hand, this is my father's that he won for Best Featured Actor for She Loves Me.
right.
And it is an Antoinette original Tony, but it's not the one he was given that night. He was given just the medallion. It didn't have a base to it. Those are the days they'd open the box and it was the medallion in the place. His, we thought, was lost in the fire when he perished, right? Jerry Bach was the executor of his will. And he was there the day that they had to go up to the apartment and they grabbed some items, blah, 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 blah. When I opened on Broadway in 1985 and Leader of the Pack, my manager went to the Antoinette Perry committee and had them duplicate and make one for my opening. It was stunning. It was a moment, right? 25 years later, 30 years later, Jerry Bach gives to my brother Ryan the original one. He had taken it that day and forgot about it and gave it to Ryan. So now we have two.
That's extraordinary.
Crazy story, right?
Yeah.
Trent, my friend Trent Mills, he came in and says, "What was it like taking on Max? What is it? Bialystock?
Bialystock.
And making it your own. Did you work with Mel Brooks at all?
Very little, actually. Marty Short and I did the production in LA. It was a tour production that sat down here for just shy of a year, and we took over the leads here. So we both had to kind of fit into the show. Marty and I did find our way of doing that show, and Sue Stroman came in for 6 days. We only had 2 weeks to rehearse it, but Susan Stroman came in for about 6 days and really played with us and helped us make it ours. And then that's a show that the two guys at the top, they dictate how that show is going to go. I, being a well-trained actor, tried to do the show pretty much legit. Marty had a totally different idea, and he dragged me to hell with him every night, and I'm so glad he did. It
so
was
more improvisational, Marty wanted?
it was little things on stage. There was one moment where Marty every night was bound and determined to break me up, and more often than not he did. And it's at the moment where we are waiting for the entrance of Roger Debris, the flamboyant director, and we're sitting in his home on this couch that looks like a set of lips. And there's a bit that's worked into the show where Leo, Marty's character, can't get comfortable, and he slides off the back of the couch and his head lands in my lap. And once he comes up, he has a line, and that cues Roger Debris to come on. But it's all in Marty's control because he's got the line. So he would come up out of my lap every night, and then it would be the Martin Short show.
Of course.
If there was somebody famous in the audience, he was doing them. If there was something in the news, he was talking about that. Anything he would do to get me to break. And that's really, it was contained mostly to there as far as the audience can see, but there was always looks. There was always a piece of blocking. He was always sort of, grabbing me in inappropriate places at inappropriate times. And
he could take it as far as he wanted to, right? He controlled the
absolutely. And I have never, listen, the Producers is one of those shows. It is the closest to straight repetition that I've ever done because it's all jokes. And if you don't tell the joke the right way, it's not funny. And it's also staged within an inch of its life. So you could get bored easily doing that show night after night. Not with Marty Short. It was Party with Marty every night, and I am so grateful that he said yes to doing it with me.
Alice Raver saying that she saw you in the show. She said, loved you in the show. Jill was saying that she had seen she was playing She Loves Me. Okay, so you and I have so much, like I said, in common. I want to talk about our acting teacher, Mr. Larry Moss. Okay. Now I want to, you were a student of Larry's in New York, even before California, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I was 18, 19. I went to his class. He taught at HB Studios, at Herbert Burghoff
In
Studios.
New York, yes. He initially had been, I think, substituting for Wynn Handman.
That's right.
And boy, I mean, my Alzheimer's is kicking in. So I know he was over on the east side somewhere, like, you know.
He taught at HB Studios, and I went and audited like 2 classes I was doing, and fell in love with him, and just thought he was. And that was an amazing class. In that class was Donna McKechnie, and Betty Buckley was in that class, and he taught. I had never, and still to this day, I never met anybody who taught a musical theater class like Larry Moss. Larry Moss's musical theater class that he said to me he learned from David Craig.
Right.
That David Craig and that he's so okay. So now we cut to California, and Larry's come out to teach in California, and I believe you and me were, I think, his first 8 students that were there or something. And you came in, I don't know if you'll remember or not. You came in to do something. You were doing, oh, I know. You were doing, what was the Pacino movie where you did a scene for
Justice for All?
Yes, that's right. You were doing that scene for class. And you were amazing. I was like riveted. You were like so good at doing that thing to the court and stuff. You're out of order. You're out of order, that whole bit. And I said, Jason, how's it going? You said, yeah, you know, I just did this little pilot, got picked up for 4 episodes called Seinfeld. And you dismiss this thing. I don't know if it's going to sell or so. Well, and history goes on. And it's,
whether I knew it or not, it happened all by itself.
And did you? And when you shot the pilot, did you know? Did you have any inkling? Did you?
No, in fact, there was a moment. Now, you know, memory's a funny thing. So I do and don't remember things. Hopefully, the ones I do remember are real. But I do remember a conversation with Jerry after we shot the pilot where he asked me if I thought, you know, we had a chance. And I remember saying to him, I don't think so, but not because I don't think this is really good. I do think it's really good. I think it's funny and original. And I said 2 things. One, the #1 comedy on television when we made our pilot was Alf. And we were not anything like Alf.
About a puppet.
Yeah. And the second thing is I really believed, and I was not wrong, that the audience for our show, as exemplified in the pilot, was mostly male, mostly urban, and really guys from the age of like 20 to 35. It was it had a really particular demographic taste. And I said, the problem with that is those guys don't watch TV. They're not the big TV watchers. So I don't think we're going to get there. I was actually right, because the pilot originally was not picked up. It aired. They threw it on the air just to kill a slot, and it got a nice review, and so they revisited it, thank God. But initially, when we started to air, even though we had virtually no audience, the audience we did have was exactly the audience I just described, which was really hard for advertisers to get to. So there was always advertising interest in our show, even though there wasn't a big audience. It was a very specific audience, and that's what kept us going initially until we started to catch on.
How many years?
We really became secure. I mean, we did 9 seasons total. We didn't become sort of a secure show until the end of our 3rd season.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. We're going to get to Seinfeld in a minute. There's so much, but I want to talk about, again, with Larry. So Larry, because is your acting teacher, he's my acting teacher. I studied with Larry in California for 2 years, and anything I did, I always worked privately with him. He helped me more as a musical theater performer than anybody.
Yeah.
So you take over as the artistic director for Reprise, right? Mm-hmm. And if I'm correct, I Love My Wife, the first show that you did as artistic director?
No. I was there for 5 years. I think Love My Wife was in year 4.
Oh, year 4. Okay, well, it was the first of that year. So anyway, and you get Larry, who was in the original company.
Correct.
He was part of the original company to direct it. And for our audience that doesn't know, this is a Cy Coleman musical about 2 couples. Jason Alexander and Vicki Lewis are one couple, And Leah Thompson, from Back to the Future, and myself are another couple. Here is a clip from my. Oh, there's some pictures first. So we're all in our PJs. And for the audience, so Cy Coleman, who's one of the most brilliant composers ever. Yes, there we are in bed together, all four of us. Well, the reason we are in bed together is because we play swingers, two couples that are about to swing, and they end up not going through with it. But we have a clip that we want to show you, Jason, that I don't know if you've seen before.
I'm sure I have not.
By somebody who was in the audience one night of our performance. So take a look.
Remember when high was up and kicks were tame? When amyl nitrate was some guy's name? Amyl? Holding hands and smooching was turning on. Horse was ride and Roach was bugs, and French connections were foreign plugs. Driving to Eddie Duchin was turning on. Goodbye to straining marrow, strangle, break the joints, do feel right. Goodbye to straining marrow, strangle, break the joints, do feel right. Goodbye to straining marrow, strangle, break the joints, do feel right. Now they join community life by 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm going to take a drag. No drags. One puff. What harm is there in one puff? Satan! If rosy lips invite me, well, that's life. But just in case you couldn't guess, I love my wife. Swing up, and your ears are temporarily gone. Everybody today is pumping. Ain't too much, look what they're stuffing. Hold it, Ma, don't touch that muffin. God knows what your grandpa's snuffing. Everybody today is turning on.
We weren't half bad, by God. My girlish figure was, a little.
Dances. By the way, I must have thought we were doing La Cage aux Folles because I had more makeup on than I've ever seen anybody ever wear. It was a joke.
Bless your heart.
That was what an experience. So, okay. So it was your fourth year there. Tell me about, because as I said earlier, Ernie, Nolan, who was a performer in Michigan and stuff, and yourself, obviously. What was it like stepping into the artistic director job for you?
I was blissfully ignorant of how hard a job it is.
Difficult.
The assumption is, well, what's so hard? If you know a lot of shows, you figure out which ones to do and you put them on. My dad's got a barn kind of thing. The business end of running a theater company, of getting shows on, of creating an environment where people not only feel safe and welcome, but can do really good work. And to do that in Los Angeles, which is an odd theater town. There's a lot of theater here. So clearly there's enough of an audience to support it, but it is not something that people get excited about. And you have to create that excitement. You have to earn it every time. And it was a very rough go. Everything we did, I thought, was glorious and successful. I was very proud of it. But we were a subscription base, and our base was a very old demographic, and every year it would go down and down because people would die, people would get ill, people would retire, and it was just very hard to program sort of younger material and try and get a younger audience while keeping an older audience comfortable and satisfied. And eventually, the business model on it just broke, and there was nothing we could do to keep it afloat. So I always say I learned a lot. I did a third to half of the job fairly well. I was very proud of what we put in front of people. Mm-hmm. The work that I was able to do behind the scenes, my God, if we didn't have brilliant people like Danny Feldman, who's now running Pasadena Playhouse, and Gilles Chesson, who Adam will be able to tell you about. He was in the original company of Rent. He came in as our producing director. Susie Dietz was my partner there for years.
Brilliant.
If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have gotten 5 years out of it. So
welcome to the club. I get it. I have incredible people here for that very same reason that you're talking about. Todd Morgan, our managing director, is amazing, and William Geis, who's our development director, marketing director, they're amazing guys, because you and I know, coming from where we come from, yes, we put on shows. Yes, we know talent. Yes, we know we have that artistic thing. But the other part of it, what I learned so much at 5-Star Theatricals, that admin word, woo, that's
Huge.
a whole other game.
Yeah.
A whole other game.
And you have to love it. You have to be as passionate about that as you are about the other side to really do it well. And I was not. I was not a math and science student. I was all language and history, and give me a song and I'm there.
And clearly a dancer from what we just saw the two of us do together. Talk to me for a minute about, you and I also, you've been married to Dana for how long?
Dana and I were married on May 31st, 1982. So last May was our 38th.
Oh my God. Okay, that in itself. I mean, I'm married to Melissa almost 27 years. We have 2 boys, like you and Dana have 2 boys, right? How old are your boys now?
Gabe is 27. He's getting married in 3 weeks. Noah is 24.
Are you ready for Grandpa?
I know Dana's ready for Grandma. I think we're kind of, I love my boys and I love them as men, but I look at pictures of them when they were little and I just get so sad because I miss those little boys so much that, yeah, it might be nice to get a taste of that again.
Jason, you couldn't be more right. Melissa and I, we have all of our stuff from the baby movies and all that stuff. We had it converted, to DVD, and we sometimes put it on just to watch them. And I have little clips on my phone of them, and you really see. I remember my mother saying that to me. You'll always be my baby, and you really, as a parent, relate to that they never grew up. They are that 3-year-old. They are that 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, man. I'm so happy for him. Congratulations on getting married. Susannah says, I forgive you for Philip Stuckey and beg for more Asher Friedman. Oy.
Yeah, Asher will be back. From what I understand, Asher will be back. That's Mrs. Maisel she's talking about.
So we play a couple games on this show, my friend.
All right.
There's my friend Danny Anderson. Patrick asked Jason about his experience in Pretty Woman. Did you enjoy Pretty Woman?
Have you ever worked with Gary Marshall?
No, but I worked at his theater. I did, and I met him there. I never got to work with him. I worked at his theater.
You cannot have a bad experience working with Gary Marshall, even though that was another one where we didn't think the movie was going to do a thing because Gary was kind of creating it on the fly, and we couldn't see the forest for the trees. We had an amazing time. I loved Richard. I loved Julia. I didn't get to work with Hector, but I certainly know Hector Elizondo. It was a joy to work on, and we are blown away by the response it had then, and that it still has a life now. Because post Me Too, well, pre Me Too, it wasn't really, but the biggest message.
And for you, that part, not. What I mean, yes, dark and you. I mean, you hate you. How can you hate Jason Alexander?
Yeah, I was
in that movie.
It was really, and that's what I mean about Gary kind of put that movie together on the fly, because the scene where I am beyond redemption is the quasi attack scene,
right? And
we did versions of that scene for comedy where she beats the crap out of me. We did it a number of different ways. He eventually picked that one. I went, oh, thanks so much, Gary. That's great.
But again, credit to you as a performer, you getting to do something like that. Anyway, so we play on this game. We play on the show. We play a couple games. The first game.
I'm going to turn on more light so I can play this game. 1 second. Here we go. All right, now. Okay, now I'm ready.
Here we go. So the first game is called Remember the Lyric.
I'm already bad. I lost already.
Okay, it's okay. Don't worry about it. So I say a lyric, and then I'll point at you, and we'll see if you come back to me with the other lyric. If you don't, you can hum the melody. Okay? Here we go. So it's, hey, old friend, are you okay? Old friend.
What do you say, old friend? Are we or are we unique?
Yo! Ding, 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 ding. Could you have done the whole song?
That one is probably in my head. A lot of Merrily, for some reason, is in my head. If you ask me to sing from the producers, I'm lost. But if you ask me to sing from Merrily, for some reason, that one is still in my head. Yeah.
Okay, and then the other game we play, we've never done them back to back, but you're so good and I had so much to talk about with you. Oh,
Okay.
wait, stop. We're going to play this game afterwards. I want to show our audience, because it was so hard to find one, a clip from Seinfeld. Now, this clip is, I talked to you about clips because there's so many. Which one do you do? Which one do you do? But this clip about the botanist, do we need to set this up or just
Oh, not the marine biologist?
Yeah, I mean the marine biologist.
So if you don't know what it is, George, if you don't know Seinfeld, George is a big liar. And he often tries to pawn himself off as things that he's not. Jerry, in this episode, has met a girl that George used to be smitten with and lied on my behalf, telling her that I was a marine biologist. And I have been trying to pull it off in our whole dating of this episode. And depending on where you go, is this the coffee shop scene at the end?
The coffee shop. It starts with you walking into the sea.
Okay, so on our date at the ocean, a whale beached a whale gets beached, and somebody says, "Is anybody here a marine biologist?" That's all you need to do.
Okay, so is anybody here a marine biologist? Mr. Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. Okay, if nothing else, if you just show that for the rest of your life, you've done it.
Well, here's the miracle. The reason I tell you about that one, here's the miracle of the show. So our writers and our producers were we didn't use a laugh track. It was that's really audience laughs. And that scene, when we went in front of the audience to shoot that day, that scene didn't exist. My story ended when I walked out into the
ocean.
And there was another scene in the coffee shop, and I guess it was good, but the guys just didn't think it was good enough. Larry and Jerry and the guys wrote that monologue on the fly on a napkin, and they come running over and they go, "How fast can you learn a monologue?" I go, "How long?" And they go, "About a page and a half." And I went, "A couple minutes."
No problem.
That is the only take we ever shot. That is the only time we ever played that scene in front of cameras. That's it. And that laugh because Kramer has been hitting golf balls into the ocean that day.
Right.
And when I pulled that golf ball out, between my look and his look and Jerry's look and Julia's look, that laugh went for almost a minute. It was
that's why I had to cut it at the golf ball, because I would have had to set. But you're right. He's hitting those golf balls in forever into the ocean. And you pull that golf, and that look on him of guilt and shame is hysterical.
But basically unrehearsed. That was the magic of that ensemble at that point, that we could do something like that. And it would look like you would never know we had never rehearsed it.
Well, my friend, you're just, I first of all, I am so honored to get to talk to you and see you. And you are a man and a mensch and a truly remarkable talent and a longtime friend. And I feel privileged. We do one other game on this show, Jason, and it's called You Become the Host. And with a mind like yours, you get to ask me one question. Any question you want, but you are the host for one question.
All right. So the Cassidy family has been a television institution for as long as I can remember. You have one opportunity to do one thing that either your mother, your father, or any of your brothers has done that you believe you really are the rightful heir to that role, that moment, that thing. Is it a song, a scene, a show? What is it? That only one of somebody else in your family got to do, but that you believe, if I could get a crack at that, I think I could own it.
What a remarkable question. Again, on the fly, it's like the monologue from Seinfeld. It's a couple. One, I've gotten to do it. It was getting to do Harold Hill in The Music Man, because that role, the reason I exist was because of the footbridge scene. The reason I became an actor and not a quarterback was because of high school and breaking my. So getting to do that part finally, and numerous times, was it. But on the other side of that, I remember when Sean became a writer after he had been a teen idol and did that whole thing and been an actor, and a very good actor, really good actor. But when he turned and became a writer, it was the one defining thing that made him different, with the last name of Cassidy. And for me, it's being an artistic director.
Well, let me tell you, my friend, you've thrown wonderful you've been so flattering, and everything you've said about me, I send back to you in spades. I am so proud of you for many, many things, but to get up and make a change in your life like this and commit to it, a new place, I know, a new community. Not that you're abandoning anything from your old career, but adding this to it and carrying the weight of it. And I know right now it's such an odd, because where are we? We don't know. And what will we be exactly when we come back is a little hard to know now too. But this company and this theater in your hands could not be in better hands. Your experience, your heart, your creativity, your talent. I think this community and the state of Tennessee is in for an awfully fun ride when you get to spread your wings.
You're awesome. You are absolutely a gem. I love you. Give my love to Dana.
I will. And to my dance partner, please.
Yes, I will. I will indeed. And thank you so much for being a part of this, Jason. You're just the best. The best.
Thanks, buddy. Be well. Stay safe.
I will.
Bye, everybody. Be well.
Amazing. Are we the luckiest? Are we so honored to have these people, Ernie Nolan and Jason Alexander, and next week I have my I can't believe it, my really good friend, Mr. Gary Cole, who also has an array and resume that you can't believe. Reese Bobby in Talladega Nights, remember that guy, as well as In the Line of Fire. I mean, this man has done more movies. He's going to be on next week. It is truly a blessing to do this show. It is truly a blessing to be here in Tennessee. It is a blessing to work with the other artistic directors and the people here in the arts. And I hope that Studio 10 Talks is doing that. Remember, we make a living on and survive on productions and donations. And right now we can't do the productions. So please continue to donate. We need it. Thank you so much, Susannah. Thank you. And thank you, Deanna Anthony. Deanna Anthony, where do you hear yourself sing? Thank you, Cindy. Thank you so much for the show. And thanks Theresa too. And look forward to Sunday evening. Such great conversations. Thank you, Mary. You guys are awesome. Jason Campbell, one of my favorite interviews. So very well done, Patrick. You're one of my favorite people here in Tennessee. So there you go. And Trent, I love you. Thank you. We're going to bring you out to here to Tennessee. You've already sung for us once. You're going to sing for us again. So please donate. Please help us. We're at a tough time now, and we are getting through it because of your help. So you can donate at www.studio10talks.com. And I always leave with a little song. And tonight I'm going to do a song that the two times I've gotten to do it before, something happened with the sound. So here we go. Goodbye, old friend, my old friend. Good night, everyone.